Today we will discuss second unit in engineering physics. In engineering physics, second unit we have two chapters. First chapter is acoustics. So in engineering physics, unit 2 is having two chapters. First chapter is acoustics and the second chapter is ultrasonics. Today we will discuss acoustics. So in acoustics, what are the contents? In acoustics, we will discuss introduction, what is meant by reverberation. In acoustics, what are the contents? We will discuss first one introduction and the next one reverberation. What is meant by reverberation? Reverberation type. Factors affecting acoustics of buildings and their remedies. Sabine's formula. We will derive Sabine's formula using growth and decay method. Absorption coefficient and its determination. What is meant by absorption coefficient and what are the methods to determine absorption coefficient, and what are the problems based on the acoustics we will discuss in this chapter. So in introduction, what is meant by acoustics? Acoustics can be defined as it is a branch of physics. Acoustics is a branch of physics which deals with the process of generation, propagation and absorption of sound waves. In acoustics, we will discuss how the sound is generated and how it is after generation, how it propagates and how it will be absorbed while propagating in a medium, how it will be absorbed by the various things in that medium or in that room. So that phenomena is called that branch of physics is called acoustics. So acoustics is the branch of physics which deals with the process of generation, propagation and absorption of sound waves is called acoustics. What is meant by acoustics of buildings or architectural acoustics? It is the branch of science which deals with the planning of a building. It deals with the planning of a building or a hall, so that after construction in that building should be best with a view to best audible sound. After construction in that building, the sound audibility should be best. Okay, with a view to best audible sound to the audience. So the branch of science which deals with the planning of a building or a hall or a seminar hall or a conference hall, like that. The branch of science which deals with the planning of a building or a hall with a view to best audible sound to the audience is called the acoustics of buildings or architectural acoustics. We can do problems. Let us observe one problem. So the first topic is sound absorption. What is meant by sound absorption? In introduction, we will discuss sound absorption. How the sound is absorbed by various materials present in the room. We will discuss in this topic. In sound absorption, in this diagram, let us consider it is a source of sound, and it is an absorbing material, the surface of the substance which is placed in the path of the sound. From the source, the sound is produced and it is propagating in the room. In the path of that sound waves, if any absorbing material is placed, then what happens? Let us see. The property, what is meant by sound absorption? The property of it is a property of a material or a surface by which the sound energy is converted into heat per meter cube. Sound absorption means it is a property of the material rho and is a property of the surface by which the sound energy is converted into heat. Frequency. Why it is converted into heat? due to the frictional resistance inside the pores of the material. The material is having very fine pores. When the sound is traveling through the frequency is equal to the sound energy is converted into heat. Rho is the form. Because due to the energy conversion, in this we know that we can calculate from energy conservation, energy neither be created nor be destroyed. So the one form of energy is converted into another form of energy. So here sound energy is converted into heat due to the frictional resistance which is experienced while passing through the pores, fine pores of the material. Okay, this property is known as sound absorption. So what is the definition of sound absorption? It is a property by which the sound, it is a property of the surface by which sound energy is converted into heat due to the frictional resistance inside the pores of the material. Okay, it is known as sound absorption. So which materials absorb sound energy more? And which materials absorb less? If we consider the fibrous and porous materials, the materials which are having pores, they will absorb sound energy more. Porous materials absorb sound energy more than the solid materials. Okay. So when the sound energy is traveling in a room, when it strikes that surface of any absorbing material, what happens? When the sound energy strikes on any surface of the substance, what happens? Some part of the energy is absorbed. Some part of the incident energy is absorbed and the remaining part is absorbed energy is transmitted by the surface, transmitted to the other side, and the rest of the energy is reflected back. Okay, as shown in this figure, let us consider in this figure, this is the incident energy. Incident sound energy. In this sound energy, some part of the energy is absorbed and it is transmitted to the other side, and the remaining part of energy is reflected back. This is the reflected sound energy. Reflected sound energy, some part of energy is reflected and the some part of energy is absorbed and transmitted. So, the sound energy reflected from a surface, if we observe the sound energy reflected back from a surface, if we observe the sound energy reflected from the surface, it is less than that incident on the surface. If we consider in this diagram, the amount of sound energy incident, amount of sound energy when the sound energy incident on the surface, some amount of energy is absorbed and transmitted, remaining energy is reflected. So in the total incident energy, some energy is transmitted and the remaining energy is only reflected. So the reflected energy is less than the incident sound energy. So the absorption of sound of a substance depends on various factors. What are those factors? They depends on its size, the size of that absorbing material, and the shape of that absorbing material, whether it is circular in shape or it is in rectangular shape. The shape of depending on the shape of the substance also absorption depends, and its position in the enclosure, and the position of that material in the room, whether it is in ceiling or it is in the walls or it is in the floor. The position of that absorbing material also matters for the sound absorption, and its physical properties, and the physical properties of the absorbing material also. That means its density, its refractive index, its density, and so on. Thickness. Okay. So the physical properties of the materials also influence the sound absorption. So sound absorption is measured mathematically using this formula. Sound absorption is represented by capital A. Capital A is equal to, it is the product of A and S. What is meant by small a and capital S? Here small a is the absorption coefficient. Capital A is the sound absorption. Capital A represents sound absorption. Small a is the absorption coefficient and capital S is the surface area of the material. Surface area of the material. Surface area of that absorbing material. If we multiply these two, we will get the absorption, sound absorption by that surface. If we consider a conference hall like this, it consists of so many chairs, so many walls, ceiling and all this. So many absorbing materials are placed in the walls and ceiling also. So each and every material absorbs some amount of sound energy. So if we have to calculate, if we want to calculate the total absorption in that room, then we have to add the absorption of all those materials. Let us consider, if there are different materials in a hall, then the total sound absorption, capital A, is equal to the sum of all the absorption, sum of the absorption of all the materials. That is, A is equal to A1 plus A2 plus A3 and so on. So what is A1? It is the product of absorption coefficient of that material and surface area of that particular material and so on. A1 S1 plus A2 S2 plus A3 S3 plus and so on. Or it can be written as A is equal to sigma or summation AI SI. It is the formula for the total sound absorption. In that formula, A1, A2, A3 and so on are the absorption coefficients. We will discuss in the next topic what is meant by absorption coefficient. A1, A2, A3 and so on are the absorption coefficients of the materials and with the surface areas S1, S2, S3 and so on in a hall. So sound absorption can be calculated using this formula. Like this, sound absorption topic can be understood. So what is meant by reverberation? Let us consider a room, a closed room. Let us consider a sound, source of sound. Suppose this is the source of sound from which the sound is produced. And here is the listener. Listener is here. So if the source of sound produces some sound and it is stopped, the source is turned off. The source produces some sound and it is turned off, then the produced sound will reach the listener in various ways due to multiple reflections from different walls. So the sound energy can be reached directly from source to the listener. The sound can reach the listener from the source to listener directly, or it can reach from one reflection. It can reach from after one reflection. The sound can be reached from source to the listener after one reflection from the wall, or it can reach after two reflections, or it can reach after three reflections. Like that, the listener will hear a series of sounds of diminishing intensities. Okay, so what is meant by reverberation? The persistence of sound. Persistence or the existence of sound in a room as a result of continuous reflections of sound at the walls even after the source of sound is turned off. The source of sound is turned off. It is stopped to produce sound even though we are listening sound. In general terminology we will call it as resound. Okay, here the existence of sound in a room as a result of continuous reflections from the walls even after the source of sound is stopped is called the reverberation. The existence of sound in a room due to the multiple reflections of sound at the walls even after the source is stopped, that phenomena is called reverberation. So let us explain in detail what is meant by reverberation. When the sound is produced in a building or a hall, let us consider this is a hall, and here He is the source of sound. He is the source of sound. He is talking something. So he produces sound. He acts as the source. So when the sound is produced in a hall, it lasts too long after its production. So after the sound is produced and it is stopped also, the sound will exist in that room. Okay? How it will exist in that room? It reaches the listener number of times. That means the sound can be reached directly. The sound can be reached directly, or it can reach after one reflection, or it can reach after two reflections, or it can reach after three reflections, and so on. So the listener hears number of times. It reaches to the listener number of times. So it reaches, whether it can reach directly from the source or subsequently after reflections from the walls. Okay, and the other part of from the hall and other parts of the hall, after the reflection of sound from different parts of the hall, the listener receives a series of sounds of diminishing intensity. So here the listener will hear a series of sounds whose intensity is reducing gradually. That means it is called diminishing intensity. So why it is happening? Because at each reflection, whether it is reflected from a wall or any absorbing material, at each reflection some amount of energy will be lost. Okay, so some part of energy is lost at each reflection. After the sound gets reflected from the absorbing materials, at each reflection the amount of sound energy is lost. Hence the listener is hearing a series of sounds of diminishing intensity. So this phenomena is called reverberation. So what happens when the sound is produced from the source? If the intensity of sound falls below a minimum value, after the source produced sound and it undergoes multiple reflections, at each reflection the intensity of sound is gradually decreasing. If that intensity is decreased below a particular value, then below a minimum intensity value, it becomes inaudible. So the sound becomes inaudible. The sound energy intensity is reducing gradually at each reflection. So if that intensity is reduced below a minimum value, then that sound will become inaudible. Okay, that minimum intensity of sound is called threshold of audibility. If we observe here in this diagram, here the source of sound, so the teacher is producing sound. So here it is 100% sound, it is gradually decreasing. So at the last bench, the last student will hear a small amount of sound energy only. He will hear the smaller voice or the sound with minimum intensity. If the intensity of sound is decreased below a minimum intensity, then that sound will become inaudible. So that limit is called threshold of audibility. So when the source of sound is turned off, the listener hears for some time only. The resound will be produced up to some time only, not continuously. Okay, the source of sound is, when the source of sound is turned off, the listener hears the sound up to some time only. Up to which intensity he will hear until it reaches the threshold of audibility. That means the listener will hear the intensity until the intensity of sound reaches the threshold of audibility. After that limit, he will not hear the sound. The sound becomes inaudible. Okay. So the time. So to express this time, we will use reverberation time. So what is the time taken for the intensity of sound to decrease from the starting intensity to the threshold of audibility. That time interval is called the reverberation time, that we will discuss in the next talk. So what is meant by reverberation? Even after the source of sound is turned off, the listener hears a series of sounds of diminishing intensity due to multiple reflections from the wall. This phenomena is called reverberation. So what is meant by reverberation time? So the time taken by the sound. As we have discussed in the previous topic in reverberation topic, we have discussed what is meant by threshold of audibility. So here the time taken by the sound to fall from its average intensity to inaudibility. The time taken by the sound to fall from its average intensity to inaudibility is called reverberation time. When the sound is produced from the source and it is the source is stopped, the time taken by the sound from the initial intensity to the inaudibility, that time interval is called the reverberation time. Or it can be defined in another way: the time required for the intensity of sound to drop 1/millionth of its initial value. So the time taken by the sound to drop 1/millionth. 1 million means 1 by 10 power 6. 1 million, that is 10 power minus 6. The time taken by the intensity of sound to drop 1/millionth of its initial value after the source is turned off. This time is also called the reverberation time. If we observe here in this diagram, here the teacher is the source. She produces sound and it reaches, she produces sound and it is, if the sound is stopped, then it reaches to the listeners and gradually the intensity is decreasing. So the time taken by the sound from the initial intensity to inaudibility, the time taken by the sound to decay or to decrease from initial sound energy to the inaudibility is called the reverberation time. So reverberation time can be expressed in terms of sound levels, that is in decibels. So let us consider the initial sound level is Li, initial sound level, and the final sound level is Lf. Here sound level is represented by capital L, initial sound level Li, final sound level Lf, and the reference intensity is I. Intensity of sound. The reference intensity is I, initial sound intensity is II, and final sound intensity is IF. These are all our considerations. We have considered Li, Lf, I, II and IF. Initial sound, final sound level, reference sound intensity, initial sound intensity, final sound intensity. Now let us, final sound intensity is equal to 10 power minus 6 times initial intensity. Just now we have defined the reverberation time as the time taken by the sound to drop 1/millionth of its initial value. So IF is equal to initial intensity II by 10 power 6. Final intensity is equal to initial intensity by 10 power 6. Then it will become 10 power minus 6 I. 10 power minus 6 II. So IF is equal to 10 power minus 6 II. Now let us write the equations for initial sound level. Li. Li is equal to 10 log II by I and initial sound level, and the final sound level is 10 log IF by I. Let us take the difference of these two, Li minus Lf, because always initial sound level is greater than the final sound level. So Li minus Lf, So subtracting these two, we will get initial sound intensity by final sound intensity. So, but we know that from this IF by II, so from this equation we have here IF is equal to II by 10 power 6. If we want II by IF, it will become 10 power 6. II by IF will become 10 power 6. So substitute this value here. In the place of II by IF, we will substitute 10 power 6. Then 10 into 6, log 10 base 10 will become 1. So it is 10 into 6, which is 60 decibels. The difference between the initial sound level and the final sound level is 60 decibels. From that value we can define, we have calculated the difference between initial sound level and final sound level is 60 decibel. So we can define reverberation time is the time required for the intensity to drop 60 decibels. For the intensity of sound to drop 60 decibels once the source of sound has been stopped. After the source of sound is stopped, the time taken for the sound intensity to drop 60 decibels is called the reverberation time. So reverberation time depends on which factors? What are the parameters influencing the reverberation time? It depends on the size of the room. Reverberation time depends on the size of that room and the nature of the reflecting materials on the walls. Nature of the reflecting materials on the walls. That means if they are solid materials or fibrous materials or porous materials, the nature of the absorbing materials present in the walls and the ceiling. What are the materials placed in the walls and the ceiling and the area of the reflecting surfaces. What are the area of that reflecting surfaces? What is the surface area of that reflecting surfaces? All these factors affect the reverberation time. So the reverberation time, how it should be? The reverberation time is represented by capital T. Reverberation time is represented by capital T. Reverberation time for a room, it should be optimum. That means it should not be very large or it should not be very small. If it is large, what happens? The reverberation time for a room should be optimum. That means it should not be too large or it should not be too small. Okay, if it is large, what happens? The clarity of sound is lost. The clarity of the sound is not there in that room. Okay. So, that is about reverberation time. What is meant by reverberation time? And we have explained the reverberation time and what are the initial and final sound levels, the difference between them. We have discussed we have defined the reverberation time depending on various factors. That means depending on the sound levels and depending on threshold of audibility. We have discussed in different, we have defined in different ways, and what are the factors affecting the reverberation time and how the reverberation time should be for a room, we have discussed. So for the reverberation time T, we will have a formula that is called the Sabin's formula. We will derive the Sabin's formula in the next topic. Okay, before that, here we have discussed that a room should have optimum reverberation. The sound produced in a room should be clear. It should, if it is clear, such that the room should have some specific values. So factors, the next topic is factors affecting the acoustics of buildings. Which factors affect the acoustics of buildings? and what are the remedies to overcome those problems. We will discuss in this topic. There should be sufficient loudness at all parts of the building. The first point is there should be sufficient loudness at all parts of the building. The sound produced should be, the loudness of the sound should be same throughout the building or the hall. And there should be no echoes should be present, no echoes. That means no reflections or no resounds should be present in that room. And the quality of sound must be unchanged. The quality of sound which is produced from the source should be same throughout that hall. It should not be changed. The quality of the sound should be same. It should not be changed. The sound should be distributed uniformly throughout the room. The sound which is produced from the source, it should be distributed uniformly throughout the room. Its distribution should not be non-uniform. That means it is very high at one place and it is very low at another place. It should not be like that. It should be distributed uniformly throughout the room. A room should have definite reverberation. As we have discussed in the reverberation time topic, a room should have a definite reverberation. That is known as optimum reverberation. The reverberation time should be optimum. That is called optimum reverberation. That means it should not be very large or it should not be very small. What is the value? The reverberation time should be 1 to 2 seconds for music. For musical programs, for musical programs in a room, what is the reverberation time? The reverberation time of that hall should be 1 to 2 seconds. For the halls, for the seminar halls or for the conference halls, for the speeches, what should be the reverberation time? It should be 0.5 seconds. So, if we consider a hall like this, a conference hall, okay, like a function hall like this, the successive sounds in a speech or a musical program, the sounds produced one after the other, the successive sounds produced in a speech or music, they should not be overlapped with each other. They must not overlap. There should not be any overlapping of the syllable or the musical notes. The syllables in a speech or the musical notes in a music, they should not overlap with each other in the hall, so that there should be clarity of sound. If they overlap with each other, the clarity will be lost. There should be clarity of sound in a hall. So there should be no concentration of sound in any part of the hall. The sound should not be concentrated at any single part or the more parts of the hall. The sound should not be concentrated at any single point. It should be distributed uniformly. There should be no concentration of sound. And the resonance in the hall should be avoided. Resonance means matching of frequencies. That means matching of vibrations. Suppose if the vibration of the frequency of the fan is matched with another sound, then with resonance will occur. Then we will observe a loud sound. We will observe a sound with maximum amplitude. So that resonance that creates disturbance. That resonance should be avoided. So there should not be resonance and it should be avoided in that rooms. And the extraneous noise produced outside the room should not enter into the hall. Here let us see this diagram. In this diagram, suppose it is a classroom. Here the teacher is the source and these are the listeners. Outside the hall, there are so many sounds, so many noise is produced. So many noise which is produced in air. Okay. So many noise is produced. Okay. So the sounds produced outside, they should not enter into the hall. To make that, the boundaries of the hall should be soundproof. The boundaries of the hall should be soundproof. There will be many concert halls in the center of the city. So the sound produced due to the traffic should not interrupt the programs undergoing inside the hall. To make that sure, the boundaries of the room or the hall should be soundproof. So the boundaries should be sufficiently soundproof to exclude the extraneous noise. The extraneous noise should not enter into the hall so that if the boundaries of the room are soundproof, then the extraneous noise will not enter into the room. And if there are number of reflecting surfaces in an enclosure, like stairs, enclosure, like flight of stairs, if there are so many reflecting surfaces inside the hall, what happens? If any sharp sound is produced by a person in front of that reflecting surface, it may produce musical sound. So if we consider the steps like this, suppose this is the staircase. If we consider the steps like this, if a sharp sound produced in front of the hall, if the sharp sound produced in front of that staircase will be reflected and it will produce a musical note. The successive reflections will produce a musical note. That effect is called the Echelon effect. The sound produced in front of a reflecting surface will produce a musical note. This phenomena is called Echelon effect. So that Echelon effect should be avoided in the conference halls. This is due to the regular succession of echoes. So this is due to the regular reflection of sound, regular succession of echoes. So there should be no Echelon effect. There should not be Echelon effect. Okay, this can be eliminated. How it can be eliminated? How the Echelon effect should be avoided? By covering the steps or staircase with the carpets, we can avoid the regular succession of the echoes. We can avoid the Echelon effect. Or if we observe the stair or steps, the spacing between the regular steps is same. If we maintain the distance between the steps as irregular, then also we can avoid the Echelon effect. So the equal spacing between the staircase, by breaking the equal spacing between the staircase is the one method, and the another method is covering with the carpets. So this is the two methods to avoid the Echelon effect. So these are the factors which affecting the acoustics of buildings and how they can be eliminated or how they can be solved. But these are the remedies. These are the remedies used for the clarity of the sound. These are the remedies, factors affecting the acoustics of buildings and their remedies. So this is the topic which represents the factors affecting the acoustics of buildings and their remedies. So reverberation time can be mathematically represented with the T. The formula for reverberation time can be given by Sabin's formula. What is the statement? According to Sabin's formula, reverberation time T is equal to 0.165 capital V by sigma AS. What is meant by sigma AS? It is capital A. That means total absorption. This is the formula for reverberation time. So this we have to derive the equation for reverberation time. What are the factors in that formula? V is the volume of the hall in meter cube. So capital V represents the volume of the hall in meter cube, and capital A is the total sound absorption in the hall. So capital A is equal to, we know that sigma AS. Sigma AS is A1 S1 plus A2 S2 plus and so on AN SN. Where A1, A2 and so on AN are the absorption coefficients of the material, and S1, S2 and so on Sn are the surface areas of materials in meters square.